Welcome in, everyone. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026.
Which means we are getting very close.
We are so close. For anyone keeping an eye on the sports calendar, you know that leaves us just 48 hours away from Thursday's opening tee shot of one of the PGA Tour's premier early season tests, the Arnold Palmer Invitational.
The energy shift this week is, it's really palpable.
Yeah, definitely.
We're leaving behind some of those more relaxed birdie fest setups of the early season and just stepping straight into a pressure cooker.
To get you ready for that test, we're pulling directly from a highly detailed source document.
A really comprehensive one.
Yeah, it's titled Arnold Palmer Invitational Betting Tips 2026.pdf. And the mission of this deep dive today isn't just to, hand out blind picks.
No, not at all.
Our goal is to extract the exact statistical blueprint for surviving Bay Hill.
That's the key word, surviving.
Exactly. So whether you are just casually watching on the couch this weekend, or maybe you're meticulously building a DFS lineup, or looking for outright betting value,
we want to replace your guesswork with cold, hard logic.
Okay, let's unpack this. The document repeatedly refers to Bay Hill as a structural test rather than a hot putter week.
Right.
What does that actually look like for the guys teeing it up on Thursday?
Well, what's fascinating here is that Bay Hill is fundamentally engineered to expose a player's weakest link.
Interesting.
When we talk about a hot putter week, we're describing a scenario where a player can just kind of get away with a sloppy long game.
Like missing fairways all day?
Missing fairways, hitting iron shots to 30 feet, but they catch fire on the greens. They sink everything they look at and somehow walk away with a trophy.
But Bay Hill actively prevents that.
It ruthlessly prevents it. Winning scores here aren't those runaway shootout numbers. It's a demanding attritional contest.
So it punishes one-dimensional players.
Exactly. If you rely solely on bombing it off the tee or just a magic wand on the greens, this golf course will find your flaw.
Looking at the raw specs of the arena, it's easy to see why. We're talking about a par 72 playing at roughly 7,466 yards.
It is a beast.
And a massive $20 million purse with 700 FedEx Cup points on the line.
The stakes are huge.
Plus, you have this classic Dick Wilson design that Arnold Palmer himself later redesigned.
The intimidation factor is just built right into the architecture.
What are the specific hazards you're looking at?
It's a classic strategic parkland layout, but you're navigating 84 sand bunkers.
Wow, 84.
Yes. And then you have the penal Bermuda rough. For anyone listening who has played out of thick Bermuda grass, you know it's a nightmare.
The ball just sinks to the bottom.
It sinks, the grass wraps around the club head, and it completely nullifies a player's ability to put spin on their approach shots.
And hovering over all of that is the water.
8 massive water hazards, and they come into play on 9 different holes.
So half your round is spent calculating how to avoid a watery grave.
Pretty much.
Nowhere is that calculation more agonizing than the signature 16th hole.
Oh, the 16th.
I want to highlight this specific hole for you listening. If you're tuning in on Sunday, this is where it all flips.
It really is the turning point.
It's a par 5, 511 yards, which for modern tour pros is basically a long par 4.
It's very reachable.
Reachable, but fiercely guarded by water. So it forces this pivotal decision. Do you lay up and play it safe for birdie, or go for eagle and risk a tournament-ending double bogey right into the lake?
That risk-reward dynamic is the heartbeat of Bay Hill. But, course design is only half the battle.
Right, the elements.
Exactly. The weather forecast dictates how those hazards actually play. And looking at the 2026 forecast, we are expecting daytime highs in the low to mid-80s.
Classic Florida week.
A baking Florida week. Only a small chance of passing showers.
So what does that actually do to the course?
It means the Bermuda greens are going to be incredibly firm and fast. And I want to explain why this matters so much for you building lineups.
Let's hear it.
When greens get that firm, missed greens in regulation are going to be inevitable. Even the absolute best ball strikers will hit perfect approach shots that just bounce hard and roll off the green.
Straight into that penal Bermuda rough.
Or a bunker. So scrambling becomes an absolute survival skill. Add in the afternoon wind gusts, and the difficulty just skyrockets.
Okay, so if the rough is a nightmare and the greens repel golf balls, what kind of player actually survives this?
We have to look at the stats.
All right, the source document gives us the 5-year averages for the winners here, and I want to read these out because it's basically the cheat code.
It is this Statistical Blueprint.
Over the last 5 years, the winners averaged roughly plus 2.4 strokes gained tee to green,
That's massive.
plus 1.0 on approach, plus 0.7 around the green, and plus 1.0 in putting.
When you analyze those numbers, a very clear takeaway emerges for the listener.
Which is?
Distance creates chances, but iron precision converts them. Putting elevates players, but it doesn't win the tournament alone.
You cannot put your way out of the Bay Hill rough. The source material provides a couple of incredible real-world case studies to back that up, starting with Scottie Scheffler.
The Scheffler insulation effect.
Yes. His track record here is wild. In his 2022 win, the data shows he gained plus 2.015 on approach alone.
But look at his driver that week.
Right. He actually lost strokes off the tee, which completely proves this is not a bomb and gouge course.
So don't just mash it and find it.
And then look at 2025.
Last year was the ultimate proof of his ball striking insulation. He lost minus 1.329 strokes putting.
Which usually means you missed the cut.
Right, for 99% of the field, you're going home early. But Scheffler still finished tied for 11th.
How does that even happen?
Because he gained a massive plus 2.759 tee to green. His iron play completely insulated his scorecard from a freezing cold putter.
That brings us to the second case study from the document, which is the 2025 showdown.
That was a fascinating finish.
Elite ball strikers dominated the top of the board. Collin Morikawa gained plus 2.115 striking the ball. He was completely dialed in.
But he didn't win.
No, the defending champion Russell Henley did. And Henley was only mid-pack in ball striking.
Plus 0.681.
Right, so Morikawa was lapping him tee to green. What was the ultimate differentiator?
It was the short game. When those firm conditions hit, Henley's combined short game performance was the exact winning margin.
The numbers are staggering.
He gained plus 1.592 around the green and plus 0.907 putting. That complete short game package was the difference.
So taking all these leaderboards and averages, we can build the player fit matrix.
The ideal archetype for your lineup.
Exactly. So synthesizing the source, you want someone gaining plus 0.75 or better on approach recently.
They have to arrive with positive tee to green momentum.
An above average scrambling baseline and a stable Bermuda putting floor.
When you run the field through that matrix, Rory McIlroy is statistically the #1 fit.
That feels almost inevitable given his history.
He's #1 in strokes gained tee to green, #1 in approach, and he has elite par 4 scoring.
Who else rates out highly in the model?
Siwoo Kim is right up there. Hideki Matsuyama as well, primarily because he is the scrambling leader on tour right now.
And we just talked about how crucial scrambling is.
Exactly, and Shane Lowry continually pops up with great metrics too.
Let's talk about some value picks from the document, guys a bit further down the board, starting with Jake Knapp.
I love this pick.
The document has him at 30-1 each way. Now, on the surface, some people might question that because he finished tied for 57th here in 2024.
You can't just look at that 2024 result in a vacuum. He is returning as a much more complete player.
The momentum he's stringing together is incredible.
He really is.
Tied for 5th at the Farmers, 8th at Phoenix, tied for 8th at Pebble Beach, and a solo 6th at Genesis.
He is trending upward in every facet. He actually ranks 6th overall in this statistical analysis.
6th in a signature event field is massive.
And he's 4th on tour for strokes gained putting and 5th for scoring average. When you combine that scoring efficiency with a course that demands patience, he's a tremendous asset at 30-1.
The second value pick the analysis zeroes in on is Shane Lowry, sitting at 33-1 each way.
We touched on him briefly, but his history here is quietly spectacular.
Solo 3rd in 2024 and 7th in 2025.
Statistically, the model has him 4th overall. A big part of that is he's 6th on tour for proximity to hole.
So his iron play is unbelievably precise.
Exactly, bypassing a lot of the danger on those firm greens.
But we have to talk about last week. His recent heartbreak at the Cognizant Classic.
That was brutal to watch.
A dramatic near miss. He had a 3-shot lead on Sunday, and then 2 double bogeys in the bear trap completely derailed it.
Left him tied for 2nd.
So at 33-1, you have a guy with proven course pedigree, amazing stats, but carrying that fresh baggage.
That's the analytical dilemma right there.
So bringing this all together for you listening, when you sit down to watch or bet this weekend, the ultimate takeaway is to ignore isolated putting spikes.
And ignore raw distance without accuracy.
Look for control over chaos. You want players who command their long irons and limit mistakes around those firm greens.
If you think about it, that structural thinking applies to so much more than just golf.
How so?
Whenever you process overwhelming information, you naturally gravitate toward the flashy outliers, the 400-yard drive or the guy who sank a 60-foot putt.
Right.
But you have to look for the foundational metrics. Trusting the structure over the spikes is how you consistently make smarter decisions.
Trust the structure over the spikes. I love that.
And keeping that structure in mind, I do have a final lingering question based on that Shane Lowry analysis.
Let's hear it.
We've established that Bay Hill requires almost robotic discipline and emotional patience to navigate.
Absolutely.
But considering Lowry's agonizing collapse in the bear trap just days ago, you really have to wonder, does a heartbreaking near miss drain a player's mental resilience heading into a demanding structural test like Bay Hill?
Or does it forge the exact hyper-focused mindset required to finally conquer it? That is the ultimate question heading into Thursday. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive. Use the stats, trust the structure, and enjoy the action this weekend. We will catch you next time.